Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight, I bet you didn't see this coming, we are back in the Massachusetts. Wait, already? Yeah, see, I was trying to get a video for y'all for yesterday's video, which you guys have already seen. And one of these matches, actually I had a couple of matches in the Massachusetts that were notable, and this one is insane. But before we get into it, if you guys enjoy what I'm doing, punch the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Over half of you guys aren't subscribed. I appreciate you guys being here. Go ahead, punch that subscribe button. And, yeah, join the Spartan Army / Navy. Now, with all of that being said, this match is insane. Okay? It just is. I spawned on two brothers. I'm in the Massachusetts, and I spawned in the middle. Where am I going, folks? That's right, we're channeling our inner Flambass. We gotta try to make him proud. Flambino, ride with us. We're going to need everything that we can get. This match legitimately is one of the craziest brawls in the center that I've ever had. So hopefully you guys are ready. You guys know, when two brothers is involved, and I spawn mid, things get real. Doesn't always work out in my favor, but by God, we're gonna try. Why? Because it's fun. I get a lot of hate for this. I really do. A lot of people posting down in the comments, Sport, you need to stop encouraging people to do this. I have never encouraged anyone to go up middle. Usually, I say the opposite. I say, look, probably not the best idea. However, if done properly, it can be beneficial to your team. However, your team needs to push their flanks. That is the only way this works. The reason going up the middle does work when it works is because you attract a lot of attention, which takes a lot of the firepower from the flanks, which allows your team a huge advantage in getting those crossfires. We are going to showcase all of that in this video. So, let's get this party started, shall we? Battle! I love Flambass, man. I really do. I have watched a lot of Flambass over the years, and I have always loved him going up the middle. There's just something about a mid-rush. You don't have options, okay? You are stuck right here. You have to use your brain, folks. It's a crazy concept. And as long as nobody sees us coming, we can get the drop on the enemy. That is, unless, of course, somebody decides to randomly drop torps in here, in which case, I'm like, okay. And then I get radared, and I'm like, even worse. Now they know I'm coming. So rather than pushing out into the mouth of the channel, I stop short on the corner. Hey, look, a Massachusetts. Now here, I should have aimed higher. I didn't, and I'm going to pay for that. 2 pins, the rest of them shatter on the belt armor, right? He got angled enough. Now we have a Massachusetts and a Massachusetts slugging it out at a bow-in engagement. Who is gonna win? And the answer is the person who decides to use more of their guns and take less damage, right? And also the person who knows the weak points of the enemy ship. So for us, we are a secondary build Massachusetts. He does not appear to be a secondary build Massachusetts, which means he's probably an accuracy build Massachusetts, and he has the advantage in terms of accuracy. However, at these ranges, even a secondary build Massachusetts is not going to have too much trouble putting a lot of shells on target. What the Oh God. We have a player number 3 has joined the battle, and he is doing exactly the wrong thing. He is just going whole ham out there, broadside to God and everybody, as the entire enemy team reverses to put shots on target, and yeah, goes a good chunk of his health. As you can see, our accuracy, not the greatest here. Our secondaries are doing their job, but his secondaries are also shooting at us. Ours being a secondary build, our secondaries are more accurate and seem to be doing their job a lot more as they get the first fire. Now, he's going to put that out, and he's going to get around the corner, which is great for him. But look at my Massachusetts, man. Again, if you're going to go mid, know what the f you're doing, okay? That is the most censorship you're going to get out of me. If you don't know what the f you're doing, stay the f out of the middle. You like that? I can do the censorship thing. But no, seriously, if you don't know what you're doing, all you're doing is throwing your hit points away, okay? by putting himself out there so that everybody can target him. Look, you've seen these coming. All of these guys have been reversing to get shots into the center this whole time. There's a destroyer entering the cap from the left corner that is coming back across the map. And I'm going to mark him. I'm going to put it on there. Also, that was a horrendous dispersion. Let's just not gloss over that at all. But there's a destroyer coming back, and we know it's the Elbing. So what are we going to do? We are going to anticipate the torpedoes and try to reverse. Meanwhile, this genius that's next to me is going to get himself absolutely murdered because reasons. Carl the Johann, Carl the 14th, the Johann, is reversing broadside in front of God and everybody. I don't have an accuracy build. He clearly does. And he punishes the Johann. I don't get so lucky. I get a couple of hits. Decent salvo, but it could have been a lot better. And unfortunately, he gets away with it. But why would a Johann just reverse around a corner like this, folks? Anybody? Anybody at all? Does it take a goddamn rocket scientist to figure out what the I'm gonna just do that all the time now. And down goes our guy. Look at his positioning. Why is he broadside right now? What could possibly have given him the idea that going broadside in that scenario was the best solution? Now, with overwhelming firepower, I obviously have no choice but to back off. I know the Elbing's here. I know that the Johann has just torped. We got away from those, and disaster. I'm actually going to bump the island. Worst case scenario. I know, because I'm spotted, and the only one that could spot me right now would be the Elbing. So I know there are torpedoes on the way, and that's when the Repub comes around the corner, and he's broadside to God and everybody. We aim for the rear of the Repub, because that's the quickest way to Citadel a Repub. Unfortunately, we don't manage to Citadel him. He gets away with it for now, but we did get 4 pins out of 6 shells, so we can't really argue with it. It was good salvo. Secondary's doing what they're doing. I've already marked the Elbing as my secondary target, though the right side's firing at ships, the left side's firing at the Elbing, and oh my god, torpedoes are here. Shocker. Who could have seen these coming? But unfortunately, we are going to take those right on the snoot. Nothing we can do about it. Repub is actually reversing and angling, so we're going to aim high, get that superstructure. That was about as good a salvo into the superstructure you're ever going to get. 2 ricochets, most likely hitting the turret face, but 3 of them managed to pin the superstructure. Remember, Republic also has a gigantic superstructure, so if they're bow in, don't hesitate. Chunk him with that superstructure. Now, God bless this Hawk, you know? This guy, he gets it. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna come in there and I'm gonna run rampant over you, and there ain't nothing you can do about it because I got torpedoes and you don't. Well, that's where you're wrong, Sunshine. I don't have torpedoes, sure, but you're not gonna run rampant over me because God help you if you decide to rush me. Just saying. I'm reversing around the corner for a reason. We know the Elbing is there. We know he's going to charge us. He's in a smoke screen, so sitting there letting him dunk away at us from his smoke screen and then reloading his torpedoes, not ideal. Also, having a Republic and a Hawk right there, I want to limit who can shoot us. Now, this is something that nobody seems to get in World of Warships Legends. Also, pay attention to our team. Our entire team died. Why? Because the guys that went on the left pushed all the way up in there instead of using the island cover. Right? They could have used the islands, but they didn't. And so they pushed all the way up in there and got crossfired by all the people that were there to fight me, right? So they all go down. The right flank hasn't been able to push their side either. They've been held up by 1 destroyer and 1 battleship on that right flank. Unfortunate is what it is. We get radared by the Peter Bag once again. We look over our left shoulder. We have an Iwami there throwing torpedoes in the direction of the Peter Bag, which does not fill me with hope. And it's at this moment the Elbing decides to make himself known. So we do what we got to do. We've got the AP already loaded, so we're going to throw that down range. We get 2 full pins, 2 over pins, a decent chunk out of him. But Elbing is very, very healthy. It's a tier 8 destroyer. It's got a lot of hit points. And we know exactly what this man is trying to do, right? He's trying to torpedo us. Duh. So we're going to dodge as much as we can. Now, obviously, he's going to get some torpedoes into us. There's nothing we can do about that, right? He's not a moron, as our secondaries start to also fire at Peter Bag. He's holding 1 salvo of torpedoes because he knows that he can get away with it. Now here we get a huge double Citadel right through the bow of the Hawk, showcasing once again, if you don't know what you're doing, you probably should chill. Now we know the Hawk has torpedoes, right? But we also know that if he wants to use those torps, he's going to have to open the angle. This is not a Duncan, okay? Duncan has those firing over the bow type torpedoes. The Hawk doesn't. It has to open up the angle a little bit, and as soon as he does, he's going to open that cheek, and he exposes himself to the Citadel once again. We want to aim just in front of the front turret, and bonk, down he goes. Beautiful shot, right? Now watch what I do next, folks. This guy is dead, right? Guess what can't be done to me if he's dead? The Elbing can't torpedo me, right? So I actually run into his dead body, and I start to reverse initially, and then our Sumner comes over to help with the Elbing, and now I use the guy's dead corpse to use him for torpedo protection. Why should I take the torpedoes when I've got a perfectly healthy corpse that'll take them for me? So we go in front of this, and we absolutely make this guy look silly, and we take 0 torpedoes there. But remember, he's not an idiot, folks. He knows that he just got to hold onto his torpedoes, and as long as he does, he's going to be able to take us down. There's nothing we can do about that. We made him look silly initially. He didn't take the bait completely, and unfortunately, he does take us down. But that was one of the craziest battles in the center that I've had. Right? We went out there, we did our job, we did everything in our possible, that was possible to do. And in the end, it just wasn't quite enough. Our team didn't manage to take advantage of what we were giving them. And this Sumner, I don't know. He's gonna last a little while. Got to give props to this Temeraire here. The Temeraire is actually going to end up killing the enemy destroyer that's on his side of the map. And we actually could have potentially pulled this back, but the Sumner is hell-bent on sitting at range and torpedoing and not bothering to try to fire his guns all that often. If you're in this situation, like the only way we win is by killing at least 2 of these ships, right? And that is the destroyer, if it ends up dying, which it does, and the battleship. Now, in that, our battleship needs to stay alive, but he's got 2 battleships and the destroyer over there. He didn't have a lot of hit points to begin with, so he's probably not going to survive. Now, this guy in the Sumner, again, not hating, just pointing out things that you can learn from, and you got to be more aggressive here. You don't have a choice, right? The game is on the line. Game is over, right? The only way we win is by sinking these guys. And by sitting out here and just dinking and dunking occasionally, you're shooting at a Massachusetts, right? So you need to be more aggressive here. Temeraire does take out the Sumner. Unfortunately, battleships are going to take out the Temeraire. He doesn't really have anywhere to go. He's caught broadside, and he ends up dead to the République. But again, that leads us right down to the Sumner. Now remember, it's a 100-point swing if he kills a battleship, right? So that would put us at roughly, it'd be what, 40 points plus 60. I think the enemy loses 60 points and we gain 40 points. So it's a 100-point total swing of points, but it would put us roughly at 340, 330 points, whereas the enemy would drop down to sub 500. And you can see the math still doesn't work out there, right? So he would still end up, because we lost our battleship, we end up in a situation we just straight up can't win. But again, if you're in this situation, you got all your hit points, you're in a destroyer, an extremely agile destroyer with high fire rate and solid torpedoes, you got to use your hit points in this situation. You can't just sit here at 12 kilometers and try to keep launching your torpedoes. You need to close the distance, launch the torps, and then as you're backing off after you've launched the torps, then you need to go guns hot and just start wiggle-waggling. That battleship's only going to reload every 30 seconds, right? Maybe 25 seconds if he's got a reload built. But if you're in this situation, you have a DPM to do your thing, you have the torpedoes, and look, he's once again launching at 9.2 kilometers, which is a long ways, right? Hitting a roughly bow-in battleship or any ship at 9.2 kilometers with torpedoes, not going to work out very often, right? You might hit them with 1. If you stack your torps, maybe you get 2, but that's not going to be enough to take out the Massachusetts. And so you need to use your guns. With 1 minute left, that means that battleship is only going to get at maximum 2 reloads to kill you. And as long as you use your agility, you'll be fine. Instead, what we end up with is he goes behind the island, loses detection on the battleship because you're the only one alive. You're the only one spotting the guy. He's anticipating that those torpedoes are going in, but I suspect that there is a Massachusetts-sized gap in between those torpedoes, and so he's going to get the lucky bow in, just don't do anything and the torps dodge you that we all know and love as battleship captains. But, again, that just points to the fact that you shouldn't be launching your torps from that long a range in this situation to begin with. Close in the distance, drop the torps, you've got plenty of detectability, and you can see Ray Publique still pretty healthy over here, or Savetsky Rosaia still pretty healthy. The Ray we actually did pretty decent damage to, but this was a fun match, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned something. I hope you guys maybe giggled a little bit. Don't forget, if you guys do enjoy, punch that like button for me. It helps the channel immensely. It allows other people that wouldn't normally get to see my videos and maybe they enjoy them as well. So I appreciate you guys. 163,000 damage in a ridiculous brawl in the center. It was an absolute clustered mess, but we managed to hold on and do as much as we possibly could. With 1,348 base XP, not too shabby. And if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.